Set down whatever you are holding. Set it down right now. I am trying one last time to talk to you about this. Do not scroll past my voyage day. If you leave now, you will keep running from the very thing that can save you. You will keep exhausting yourself without ever knowing why you are running. The noise of this world will consume the life I carefully planned for you. You will wake up 10 years from now feeling exactly as empty as you feel today. I refuse to let that happen. My beloved child, I was in the room with you yesterday. I saw you walk into an empty house. The very first thing you did was reach for a screen to fill the quiet space. You turned on a familiar voice just to avoid being alone with your own heavy thoughts. You flooded the room with sound because the silence felt like a physical threat. I am watching you drown in the constant noise of this world, and I am telling you right now that I will never shout over that noise. I do not compete with the cheap distractions you choose. I am waiting for you to finally stop. Stay with me through this message. You will understand why the quiet absolutely terrifies you. You will feel my presence in the dark corners of your home, and you will learn how to stand perfectly still for 10 seconds without a trace of panic. I need you to do one small thing before we go further. Stop moving. Type, "I am here," so your hands agree with your heart. I read what my children write. I notice every single one who chooses to stay. Notice what your mind does when the house goes completely quiet. It panics. It hands you a massive list of chores that must be done immediately. You think you are just being productive. You think you are simply a very busy person. That is not the truth. The busyness is a shelter. It is a thick wall you build so you never have to hear the painful question waiting for you in the silence. You use tasks to drown out the deep ache. And that is only the first layer of what is happening inside you. The real reason you cannot sit still is much heavier than a busy schedule. I am going to show you exactly what is hiding underneath that endless need to rush. I am issuing this final warning because the noise is about to cost you something entirely irreplaceable. You have spent a lifetime ignoring the soft whispers I place in your spirit. I am not going to let you ignore them anymore. I know exactly how tired you are. I see the dark circles under your eyes. You have filled every single hour of your day with demanding tasks for other people. You run from the kitchen to the car. You answer every urgent message immediately. You solve complicated problems that belong to everyone else. And you do it so incredibly well that no one even asks if you are okay anymore. They just assume you can carry the entire world. You lie in bed at night and your body physically aches, but your mind absolutely refuses to power down. It replays old conversations from 3 years ago. It worries about heavy bills that are not due yet. It creates disasters that have not even happened. My weary one, I know you feel like you are losing your grip. I know you feel completely abandoned in those lonely midnight hours. You are not losing your mind, and you are definitely not abandoned. I have been sitting right beside that bed every single night. I know the thought that is moving through you right now. You are thinking that someone just wrote these words. You think this is just another voice on the internet trying to play with your fragile emotions. I am not offended by your deep caution. I made the careful part of you that asks those hard questions. Your skepticism is a heavy shield you earned honestly. People have made grand promises to you and simply walked away. You learned to protect yourself by doubting everything that sounds too good to be true. You built a fortress out of logic and reason. You decided that if you never expect a miracle, you will never be disappointed when the room stays quiet. That is a very safe way to live. But safe is not the same thing as alive. I did not breathe my spirit into your lungs, so you could merely survive your days. I created you to walk in peace, and peace is the one thing your busy schedule cannot buy. I will not ask you to blindly believe me right away. Just look at the undeniable truth of your own exhaustion. Notice how your chest tightly constricts when I mention the silence. You have convinced yourself that stopping means you are utterly failing. You have believed the heavy lie that your worth is strictly tied to how much you accomplish in a single day. The world taught you that rest is a reward for the flawless. The world lied to you. We are going to take that heavy lie apart today. I am going to show you the exact moment you started believing it. You were not born terrified of a quiet room. Someone taught you to fear the empty spaces. They taught you that if you were not useful, you would not be loved. And I am going to teach you how to finally rest inside the quiet. You are going to learn how to put the heavy burden down without apologizing to anyone. The noise you surround yourself with is a thief. It steals the very moments where I try to hand you the answers you have been begging for. You pray for clarity on your way to work, but the moment the car starts, the radio goes on. You ask me for direction while you wash the dishes, but you have a show playing so loudly you cannot hear your own heartbeat. I am speaking to you all day long. You are simply too distracted to hear it. Stop running. I know what you are thinking right now. You are wondering if this is really for you, and you have quietly convinced yourself that these beautiful promises belong to someone else. Someone whose faith has never wavered. Someone whose hands are perfectly clean. But I did not come looking for a flawless person today. I came looking for the one who is completely exhausted. You do not need to be perfect to sit in this room with me. You only need to be honest. The world demands that you keep producing. It tells you that your value is strictly tied to how much you can carry without complaining. So you carry it all. You haul the heavy expectations of your family. You absorb the sharp anger of your coworkers. You manage the delicate feelings of everyone around you. And you do it so quietly that they think it costs you absolutely nothing. But I see the enormous cost. Let me describe a morning you have lived so many times you stopped counting. You sleep the entire night through, but you rise from that bed with your jaw already tight. Your shoulders are pulled up near your ears before you even reach the kitchen. You stand at the counter holding your cup, and you feel utterly drained. A healthy body that worked hard, sleeps deep, and wakes hungry. This is a very different kind of tired, and it has been closely following you for years. And you have explained it to yourself so patiently. You look in the mirror and whisper that you are just getting older. You tell yourself that you used to be much stronger than this. You actually believe that something inside you has quietly broken, and you call yourself weak in a tone you would never use on someone you love. Hear me clearly right now. That is not the reason. You are not weak, and you were never weak. Here is what no one has told you. Exhaustion does not come from the heavy weight you were given. It comes from the heavy weight you were never given. Somewhere along the way, you began to carry heavy things I never placed in your hands. You carry the choices of grown adults. You carry the bitter moods of your household. I am going to name this so you can never unsee it. This is the borrowed load. It has your fingerprints on it, but it was never yours. Now look back with me at the past 5 years. Look very gently at the years you have called your failing years. You were not failing at all, you were hauling. Every single morning you woke up and picked up bags that belonged to other people, and every single night you stood in harsh judgment over yourself for walking so slowly. You were never a lazy person. You were incredibly loaded down. A loaded soul that keeps walking is not weak. She is profoundly faithful. He is relentlessly loyal. I saw your beautiful faithfulness the whole time, even when all you could see was your own exhaustion. You tried to fix situations I deliberately allowed to break. You tried to heal people who absolutely refused to be healed, and you called it your own personal failure when they walked away. It was never your job to save them. So today I am asking something very small of you. I do not want a grand vow. I do not need a massive transformation. I want you to ask one simple question before you pick anything up. Did my father actually hand me this? Ask it at the kitchen sink. Ask it before you answer that demanding phone call. And when the honest answer is no, you must set it down without a long speech and without any apology. Putting down what I never gave you is not abandonment. It is pure obedience. Begin with one small thing today, just one. Let them carry the natural consequences of their own poor choices. Let them feel the heavy weight of their own disorganized lives. You step back and you let them fall if they desperately need to fall, because I am perfectly capable of catching them. You do not need to stand in my place anymore. When you finally drop the borrowed load, something amazing happens. The terrible noise in your head begins to quiet down. You will suddenly have the energy to hear my voice again. You see, the noise shelter we talked about earlier is built by anxiety, and anxiety feeds on trying to control things you absolutely cannot control. Once you stop managing the entire universe, the room gets very peaceful. I want you to imagine the physical relief of empty hands. Imagine walking into a room and not scanning the faces to see who needs fixing. You simply sit down, you drink your water, you let the other people in the house manage their own turbulent weather. It feels strange at first, and it might even feel a little bit terrifying to just exist without being relentlessly useful to someone else. But you will get used to it. I want to see if you are truly ready to drop it. I need to know you hear me. Type the words, "The noise is not my voice," in the comments below. Say it so your mind hears you declare it. It is incredibly hard to listen to the world's panic right after you have publicly announced you are leaving it behind. Make the bold declaration right now. Let the heavy stones fall from your tired hands. You have carried the weight of other people for so long that your own hands forgot how to rest. Every time you tried to set the heavy bags down, a quiet voice told you that you were being selfish. That voice is a liar. It is not selfish to step back and let people carry the natural consequences of their own actions. It is actually the only way they will ever learn to walk on their own. You are standing in the way of their growth by constantly catching them. I want you to really think about the massive amount of energy you spend trying to prevent disasters that never even happen. You meticulously plan for every possible outcome. You carefully manage the moods of everyone in your house before they even wake up. That is the borrowed load. Carrying it is the exact reason you have absolutely no energy left for the life I actually called you to live. You are completely drained by a job I never hired you to do. Do you understand why the noise is so important to you now? You use the constant busyness to drown out the realization that you are carrying things that do not belong to you. If you actually stopped and sat in the quiet, you would feel the crushing weight of it all. You would realize how much of your precious life is being spent on things that do not matter in eternity. The noise keeps you distracted from the heavy burden. It keeps you running on a treadmill that goes absolutely nowhere. This is exactly why I am issuing this final warning today. I am telling you to stop because the treadmill is about to break you. If you keep running like this, you will miss the beautiful season I have prepared for you. You cannot enter the new room if your hands are completely full of heavy stones from the old room. I need your hands empty. I need your heart quiet. I need you to finally trust me. The world will not instantly collapse just because you decide to take a nap. Rest is not a sign of surrender. Rest is a profound declaration of trust. When you close your eyes and go to sleep, you are declaring that I am perfectly capable of running the universe without your constant supervision. I want you to feel the deep relief of that truth. You are completely allowed to resign from the job of managing everyone else. You can hand them back to me. I am a much better savior than you will ever be. You have finally seen what has been carrying you. You have felt the terrible weight of the borrowed load. Now let me show you a beautiful morning where you are no longer carrying it. Come with me to a morning 6 months from now. It is a very ordinary weekday, and the sky is doing nothing remarkable at all. You wake up before the alarm goes off, and your feet find the cold floor without a single argument. You walk into the kitchen. You pour the water. You stand at the window with the cup warm against your palm, and you do not brace yourself for disaster. Your shoulders stay exactly where they belong. The familiar tightening behind your ribs is simply not there anymore. You do not run through a massive list of worries before the day has even opened its eyes. The phone lies face down on the counter, and you do not feel it aggressively pulling at you. The silence does not frighten you at all. That is the part you cannot even picture from where you are standing today. You cannot imagine being inside a quiet room with a cup in your hand and nothing inside you running away. But that woman is not a dream. That man is not an impossible fantasy. That peaceful version of you already exists. They are not being assembled somewhere far away out of parts you do not currently have. They are standing right on the other side of the heavy load you are still gripping. The distance between you and that beautiful morning is not time. It is permission. And permission is not a magical thing you wait to be handed by someone else. It is something you boldly say out loud in a room with the door closed. You must look at the heavy expectations of other people and absolutely refuse to pick them up. You say it tonight. You declare that it was never yours, and you firmly set it down. Then you go to sleep with completely empty arms. The peaceful morning I just showed you does not have to be chased down. It has been walking toward you this entire time. It is only waiting for you to stop carrying what would never fit through its narrow door. I want you to sit in that glorious quiet for a moment. Feel the gentle breeze of a life that is no longer suffocated by endless noise. This is the sacred rest I promised you. It is real, it is yours, and no one is allowed to take it from you ever again. The noise of the world tried to convince you that peace was a luxury you could not afford. The enemy wanted you exhausted so you would never step into your true calling. But I am breaking that heavy cycle today. Type the words, "I set it down today," in the comments below. Let the old burden fall right here. Last night you lost 3 whole hours, and you honestly cannot tell me where they went. Your eyes stayed open easily for all the meaningless distractions that keep you from thinking. Then you finally sat down in front of the one thing that actually matters to your future, and within 90 seconds, a terrible heaviness came down over your eyes like a thick blanket to stop you from working. Suddenly the desk desperately needed clearing. Suddenly there were trivial messages to answer that could have waited an entire week. You got up from the chair and walked away from the heavy task. And you carried that particular shame to bed with you just like you have done 1,000 nights before. You lay there in the quiet dark, wondering why you cannot simply do the important things you desperately want to do. You have a very harsh word for yourself on nights exactly like that. You call yourself completely lazy. You look in the mirror and call yourself undisciplined. You say there is something fundamentally broken inside you that other normal people simply do not have. My child, that terrible word has never fit you, and I want it out of your mouth right now. You have carried other people through incredibly difficult years that you barely survived yourself. A truly lazy soul does not do that. The word is completely wrong. And because the word is wrong, everything you have built on top of it is entirely wrong too. You are not struggling with a lack of willpower, but you are fighting a quiet battle you do not even understand yet. Let me show it to you. Here is what is actually happening deep inside you. The human mind does not resist hard work. The mind strongly resists exposure. Look closely at the specific tasks you constantly avoid and the tasks you never avoid. You will quickly find that the avoided ones are never the hardest ones you face. They are the revealing ones where you would finally find out what you are truly made of. Your mind loves you, and it has been fiercely guarding you since you were a very small child facing a difficult world. It knows that finishing the important work means you will step into the light, and stepping into the light means you will be judged by the world. So your mind builds a thick fog in front of that door and simply calls it tomorrow. It is not sabotage. It is a loyal bodyguard who has never been told the war is over. I am going to name this so you can recognize it. This is the protective delay. It stands in your way every single time you try to step into your true calling. Now go back with me through all those bitterly unfinished things in your life. Look at the drawer full of half-written pages, or the big plan you described to your sister once and never mentioned again. You were not lazy in those silent years. You were heavily guarded. Something inside you decided long ago that being unfinished was much safer than being measured by others. It decided that because somewhere long ago you were measured badly by someone who had absolutely no right to hold the scale, you have not been failing to begin. You have been protecting a deep wound that no one ever tended. You hid behind the delay because the delay kept you perfectly safe from failure, but it also kept you completely hidden from your own brilliant future. The world told you that procrastination was a terrible sin you had to conquer with strict discipline. I am telling you it was just a shield, and today is the exact day you are going to lay that heavy shield down on the ground. So today do not promise me the whole finished project. Promise me 15 minutes, and promise me you will do it badly. Open the file, take out the blank page. Touch the important work with absolutely no intention of doing it well, because 15 minutes of poor work is the only thing the thick fog cannot survive. The fog exists to protect you from being harshly judged by people who do not matter. There is nothing for anyone to judge in 15 deliberately imperfect minutes. Set the clock. Begin the work before you feel perfectly ready. Readiness has never once arrived first in the entire history of the world. It always comes in right behind the brave work, and it never arrives before you take the first terrifying step. I need to know you are finally ready to step out of the hiding place. I am asking you a direct question right now. Which one were you? Were you the one who stopped asking, or the one who never even started? Type the words, "I stopped running," in the comments below, so the enemy knows you are no longer hiding from your own calling. When you write those words, you stop being someone who just passively listened to a message. You become someone who made a profound decision to change your direction. The protective delay loses all its power the very moment you name it out loud. You are stepping into the light, and the light is exactly where I have been waiting for you all these years. Keep walking forward. Everything I have told you up to this point is completely true. Now I will tell you the part that changes what it means. You always believed the constant noise helps you survive the heavy days. You thought the busyness was keeping you productive. That is simply not the truth. The noise never helped you survive the storm, because it was the exact thing keeping you locked inside it. I know there is a specific sentence you have been holding on to since long before tonight. You are deeply thinking about the times you actually tried to find the quiet. You asked for my help for years. You prayed in the exact way you were taught to pray, and then you tried ways no one ever taught you. But the room just stayed completely quiet. You heard absolutely nothing come back to you. I will not tell you the room was not quiet. It definitely was. You did not imagine that terrible silence, and you certainly did not deserve it. No one has the right to explain it away in a simple sentence and move on to something more comfortable. I will also not tell you that you somehow asked wrongly. You did not. There was no better hour and no truer posture. No special arrangement of perfect words would have quickly opened what a plainer word could not. Anyone who tells you the critical flaw was in your technique is telling you something I never said. Here is the one thing I will gently offer you today. You may set it down right now if it feels too soon. Silence is not the same thing as complete absence. They are completely different. A loving father sitting in the dark beside his sick son makes absolutely no sound at all. The frightened child waking up in that deep dark may falsely believe he is completely alone in the house. He is wrong about the house. He is not wrong about the dark. The dark was real, and it was incredibly long, and it was certainly not nothing, but he was never alone. I am not asking you to call those painful years good. I am asking you to deeply consider that you were never abandoned inside them. The human heart cannot easily tell the difference between silence and refusal, so it quickly fills the quiet space with the worst word it knows. You concluded that I said no to you, but I was actually doing a profound work on the vessel instead of the water. A beautiful gift that comes before your tired hands are truly ready is not a mercy at all. It is a heavy loss wrapped in a beautiful package. I have watched that kind of premature gift utterly break the very people who passionately begged for it. Some of what you asked for is currently being made perfectly ready. Some of it is being made much better than the exact thing you named. And some of it I love you far too much to ever hand you in the fragile shape you asked for it. You must listen closely to me now as the temperature in this room begins to shift. We are moving away from the comforting whispers and stepping into the blinding light. You have survived the long silence, and you have finally named the heavy delay. Now you must prepare yourself for what happens next. The ground beneath your feet is already starting to rumble. You can feel the distinct shift in your own breathing right now. I am not just going to explain your past anymore. I am actively preparing to flip your understanding of the present moment upside down. This is the exact reason I asked you to stay through the uncomfortable quiet. The real revelation is standing at the door. Do not look away from me now. Do not let the familiar panic rush back in and steal this profound breakthrough from your hands. You have done the incredibly hard work of sitting in the dark, and you have patiently waited for the morning sun to finally break the horizon. The waiting is officially over. The heavy curtain is about to be violently torn right down the middle. Prepare your heart. I want you to gather every single piece of doubt you have carried into this room. Bring all the quiet frustrations and the bitter tears you cried when you thought I abandoned you. Hold them up to the light right now. I am not intimidated by your heavy baggage. We are going to take every single one of those heavy stones and use them to build a massive fortress that nothing can ever tear down. You are standing on holy ground today. The air is electric with the fierce promise of a completely restored life. Every single moment of agonizing silence was just a careful preparation for the explosive truth I am about to hand you. Do not move an inch. Take a very deep breath, because the entire landscape of your painful history is about to be brilliantly illuminated. Every lie the world told you about your own weakness is going to be shattered in the next few minutes. I am turning up the heat to burn away the remaining confusion. You thought your long waiting season was a terrible punishment. It was actually the powerful forge where your spirit was being strengthened for this exact moment. Rise up, stand firmly on your feet. The quiet season is definitively over. Type, "I am still here," in the comments if you are ready to face the blinding light with me. Everything I have said until now was preparation. This is the thing itself. Lift your head right now. What comes next is not just simple information, but it is a truly holy moment. I have been walking you toward one specific sentence this entire time, and we have finally arrived at it. The ground has been carefully prepared. Now I will speak directly over it. Breathe once. Then hear me say the thing I have wanted to tell you since the moment you sat down. There is a prayer you have completely stopped praying. You have never told anyone that you stopped. You still say the familiar words at night, but you took your heavy weight off them somewhere along the winding way. Now they just go up from you like a man greeting a neighbor he expects absolutely nothing from, and there is a painful moment right at the end of it where you just catch yourself. You secretly think I have heard this far too many times. You have drawn a terrible conclusion from my silence. You concluded that I simply said no to you. On the hardest nights, you concluded something much worse than a simple no. You decided that I was not listening at all, and you thought your desperate words went up into a completely empty ceiling. Beloved, I want to answer that directly. I have heard every single one of them. Not one of those lonely nights was unwitnessed. And my silence was never my word for no. You did not ask wrongly. There was no better hour and no truer posture. No special arrangement of perfect words would have quickly opened what a plainer word could not. Anyone who tells you the critical flaw was in your technique is telling you a lie I never spoke. Do not let them blame your faith. I am not punishing you. Here is the exact truth you have not been told. Silence and refusal are absolutely not the same thing. The human heart cannot easily tell them apart, so it fills the quiet space with the worst word it knows. You have filled your life with constant noise to hide from the painful silence. You ran to busyness because the quiet felt like total rejection. But silence is exactly where my voice lives, and completely stopping is the only way to hear me. Between your anxious asking and my perfect arriving, a profound work is being done. The work is not on the water, the work is on the vessel itself. A beautiful gift that comes before the hands are ready is not a mercy. It is a heavy loss with a beautiful wrapping. I have watched that kind of premature gift utterly break the people who passionately begged for it. I love you far too much to hand you something that will eventually crush you. I am naming this quiet season right now. This is the unfinished yes. The answer actually left my hands on the very first day you prayed. It was fiercely resisted on the way down. What you are enduring right now is not the distance between your desperate prayer and my hearing. Your first words were already answered. What you are waiting on is the arrival. Now look back over the long years you have called entirely abandoned. You were not being ignored in them. You were being carefully formed in them. Ask yourself honestly what you can carry right now that you could not have carried before that waiting began. None of that profound strength came from the instantly answered prayers. All of it came from the long silence you falsely thought was pure rejection. The painful waiting was never empty of my presence. You simply could not see me actively working. I was working on the one thing you never even thought to look at. I was working on you. Every silent season you have bitterly resented is the exact material I am using to build your glorious future. You were never behind. You were never the one who missed it. The thing you have been calling your long delay is actually your holy preparation. I am ending the bitter argument today, not softening it. I am ending it. You are not late. You are not less. You are not the tragic exception to my faithfulness. So, I will not ask you to force yourself back into that exhausted prayer tonight. I am simply asking you to change one single word. Where you have been angrily saying, "Why have you not?" I want you to say something completely different. Say, "What are you doing?" Say it exactly once out loud before you go to sleep tonight. Then take a piece of paper and write down one thing that is different in you since the day you began asking. Only one. That page is your undeniable evidence. On the dark nights when the terrible silence gets loud again, you will not have to blindly take my word for it. You will hold your own handwriting. Type, "I receive it," to seal this truth in your heart before we move forward. Now that you have received the truth, I have to tell you what will come to take it back. Something inside you profoundly shifted just a moment ago. You finally felt the heavy chains of constant busyness break. You saw the exhausting cycle for what it truly is. But I will not send you out of this quiet room without telling you about the difficult road ahead. There is a very real cost to ignoring this breakthrough. The noise of this world is going to fiercely try to reclaim you tomorrow morning. It will not come as a terrifying monster to scare you. It will simply look like an urgent email. It will look like a demanding phone call from someone who needs your immediate help. The world will quietly ask you to pick up the heavy bags you just set down. It will tell you that taking a break is a sign of ultimate failure. And if you listen to that familiar noise, you will step right back into the exhausting cycle. You will trade the profound peace you found today for the cheap distraction of being constantly busy. Hear this clearly before you go. There is a terrible cost to living another year inside the loud shelter you built. It is not a cost anyone will mail you a physical invoice for. It is paid quietly in the beautiful things you completely stop expecting. You will slowly lose your God-given ability to dream about a truly peaceful future. I am not warning you about a punishing enemy tonight. I am warning you about a comfortable habit. If you close this message and go back to your frantic rushing, nothing dramatic will happen immediately. The sky will not fall, but you will wake up 1 year from today feeling exactly as empty as you do right now. That is the true tragedy. You will have spent another 365 days desperately running from the silence. You will be older, you will be much more tired. And you will still be carrying a heavy load that I never asked you to touch. Do not choose that path, my child. The cost of another year of running is simply too high for your fragile spirit to bear. I am standing between you and that exhausting future right now. I am not moving an inch, but you absolutely have to stay where my hand can reach you. I am the only one who can stop this painful cycle, and I am already doing it. I refuse to let you walk blindly back into the overwhelming noise. That is why my voice is so loud tonight. What comes next is going to sound exactly like the end. The voice will significantly slow down. The words will get much shorter and softer. That is not the end, my beloved child. That is just the doorway. I have one more thing to give you, and it has a specific name. I call it the last thing I kept. You must wait for it. You will not receive it in the part that sounds like a gentle closing. You will receive it after. Stay right here with me. I am not asking you for anything else tonight. I am telling you that the profound sentence I promised you is still owed to you. I do not leave a massive debt like that unpaid. It comes right after the quiet part. Do not set your phone down. Do not let your mind wander to the tasks waiting in the kitchen. What I kept back is not a simple summary of what we just discussed. It is the one vital thing I have not said yet. If you miss it, you will walk away with only half of the armor you need for tomorrow. Stay until the final word is spoken. I am lowering my voice now. We have finished the heavy lifting. The difficult truth has been spoken, and the old agreements have been completely shattered. Now I want to speak to you the way a loving father speaks at the end of a very long day. I want you to simply rest in the profound truth we uncovered together. There is nothing left to fiercely argue about. You can drop your defenses completely. The loud courtroom inside your mind is officially closed. I never called that bitter court into session anyway. Take a deep breath and let your shoulders drop. We are walking into a deeply sacred space now. The noise cannot follow us into this quiet room. You have done the hard work of listening. You faced the terrifying silence and you did not run away. Because you stayed, everything is going to be different now. The healing has already begun deep inside your tired bones. Just hold my hand for these last few minutes. The most beautiful part of our journey is standing right in front of you. I know how hard it was to stay through the uncomfortable moments of this message. You wanted to click away when I named your secret fears, but your willingness to remain here is what allowed me to reach deeper than I ever could before. You opened a locked door by staying. I am walking through that open door right now to bring you total peace. Do not let the enemy steal this victory from you in the final stretch. He is a thief who thrives on distraction. Keep your eyes firmly fixed on my voice. We are about to cross the threshold together. Leave the heavy bags on the floor behind you. You will never need to pick them up again. Walk forward with completely empty hands. Type, "I will not run," in the comments. Declare that the noise has lost its power over you today. The heavy teaching is totally finished now. What is left is just between the two of us. I told you there was one last thing I kept for the very end. You waited patiently for it through the hard parts of this message. And I am placing it in your empty hands right now. The last thing I kept is your profound innocence. You thought your constant busyness was a terrible sin. You thought your fear of the silence meant your faith was completely broken. It was not. You were just a very tired child trying to survive an incredibly loud world. You do not have to apologize for running anymore. The running kept you safe when you did not know how else to survive the heavy days. But you do not need that heavy armor today. The noise shelter is officially dismantled. You can finally stop performing for a crowd that was never really watching. Stopping is the only way to hear my voice clearly. And now that you have stopped, I want to show you exactly what happens next. Come with me into the beautiful season ahead. It is a completely ordinary Tuesday afternoon. The bright sun is shining through your kitchen window. You are standing at the sink washing the dishes in warm water. Suddenly your phone rings loudly on the counter. It is the exact name you have been aggressively avoiding for months. And here is the profound miracle I want you to truly feel. Your stomach does not instantly drop to the cold floor. You dry your wet hands slowly on a towel. You answer the call on the second ring. You say hello in your own steady voice. You do not use the careful voice you built just to manage their unpredictable moods. Notice exactly what is not in that room with you. The crushing anxiety is completely gone. You are not quickly rehearsing your defensive sentences before you even speak. There is no small, panicked animal sitting in your chest waiting for the terrible turn. When the difficult conversation finally ends, you simply set the phone down. You go right back to washing your dishes. The rest of your peaceful evening does not belong to them anymore. It belongs entirely to you. The silence in the kitchen returns, and it feels like a warm blanket instead of a physical threat. That is what a truly quiet mind looks like. That peaceful evening is not a foolish fantasy. I am not painting a fake picture just to make you feel better tonight. That incredibly steady version of you already exists. She is standing right on the other side of this exhausting season. He is waiting just past the loud noise. The only thing standing between you and that beautiful Tuesday is your willingness to let the silence do its holy work. Because you finally stopped running from the silence, I am moving you out of the noise and into absolute clarity. You will no longer hide in frantic busyness. You will no longer manage the chaotic weather of everyone else in your house. You will listen quietly, and you will actually hear. And this profound peace will not stop with you alone. The people watching you will learn how to rest just by standing in your calm presence. Your entire family will feel the distinct shift in your spirit. You came into this room carrying a massive burden you stopped noticing. You are not walking out with it today. What you are walking out with is much lighter and infinitely better. You are walking out with the solid knowledge that you are profoundly loved. You are cherished simply for existing. You do not have to earn your place at my table by being endlessly useful. Let the heavy words rest now. I am holding you, right here, in the quiet space. I bless your tired hands. I bless your exhausted mind. I speak total peace over the racing thoughts that keep you violently awake at night. The long season of terrifying silence is permanently closed. I am restoring everything the loud noise stole from your fragile spirit. You are entirely safe here in my presence. I have said everything I came to say tonight. What happens next is not mine to do. I need you to put your own hand on this breakthrough and make it permanently yours. Right now, you are just someone who heard a comforting message. In 30 seconds, you can become someone who proudly claimed it. Those are two completely different people. The second one is much harder to defeat in the morning. I want you to leave one powerful phrase below. Type the words, "I hear you now," in the comments. Write it down so your own eyes can see your bold decision. I read what my children write. Then I want you to do one more brave thing before you sleep. There is a specific name that arrived in your mind twice while I was speaking today. You know exactly who it is. Send this message to that specific person. Write one honest sentence telling them exactly why you thought of them. That short sentence will matter much more than everything I have said. The teaching is finished. The doorway is wide open. Walk through it. Walk.